In breaking news, well, two powerful earthquakes in Japan have triggered alerts, and this time, well, it's no longer just two. There have been a lot of earthquakes happening right now, but especially two very powerful ones. Shall we read? Now there are 3 or 4 very powerful ones instead of 2. It's just that there's a lot of activity in that area. In Japan, there have been 2 earthquakes of magnitude 6.8 and 6.4, but there are already others of 5.7, 5.9, and 5.8. Several earthquakes have been happening in this region in that high-risk area, areas with a 95% probability of occurrence during a period in the coming years. In the last 48 hours, there could be seismic activity and also tsunami alerts. In the last 24 hours, a seismic swarm has been recorded, but this swarm now includes an earthquake of 6.8, 6.4, according to what has been confirmed at this time. So, stay alert in this area. Look, if we observe at this point, this is where the 6.4 and the 6.8 occurred. According to what's reported by the United States Geological Survey, it's at a depth of 10 kilometers. Given this, we need to stay alert. There was initially a tsunami warning, which has now been suspended, but it could be reactivated since it's believed that another earthquake could occur this time. Well, it's at earthquake level. Japan, as part of being in the Pacific, of being in a highly active area, both volcanically and seismically, obviously the risk is constant. They're also well prepared. We have to say that too. They're not unprepared. The earthquake already caused. According to what has been confirmed, there was a blackout, but it was brief and the power has already returned. There was a partial suspension of services on the Shinkansen. According to what is known, this magnitude 6.7 earthquake, the first one, shook northeastern Japan as reported by the Japan Meteorological Agency, and a tsunami warning was issued, although it was later lifted. Also, well, after a while, there was another earthquake, this time a 6.4. The quake occurred off the coast of Iwate. At what time? The first one was at 5 p.m. local time, according to the country's Seismological Institute. They have a series of scales, and the scale level was number 4, right? Do the scales go up to 7, right? The second one? Apparently, it was also at a similar scale. The meteorological agency stated that even though there may be slight changes in the tide along the coast, in other words, a micro-tsunami could occur in Aomori, Iwate, and Miyagi, but there is no risk of damage, according to what has been revealed by the Japanese authorities themselves. Causing a blackout means the earthquake was serious, right? It is reported that in Ufanato and Miyako, smaller tsunami waves were observed, so it seems that a small tsunami reached those two islands. That will have to wait for confirmation, but Kyoto News has already reported on this. So it seems like yes, but let's wait anyway. What other details are being given by the seismological authorities of that country? The authorities also warned that they will be analyzing to see if there was any damage to the infrastructure. For now, there are no casualties. There are no injuries so far, he says. Please pay close attention to future information as a tsunami could come later. For now, Japanese Prime Minister Sanae Takahashi says that before anything else, there is also the possibility of aftershocks. So we need to be prepared for possible strong tremors in the coming hours, even in the next few days. Japan is located right there throughout the country in the famous Ring of Fire, one of the most active zones. And every year they get a scare, sometimes more than others, but well, you know, like it has been in recent years. We're not going to count how many earthquakes there are and of what magnitude. We're not going to update it so everyone can see. So far, the United States has counted around 30 aftershocks, possibly more, but these are all earthquakes of magnitude 2 or higher. I'm going to mention the biggest ones, the biggest of all. It's the 6.81, which happened at 5 in the afternoon, and the other one, the second one, the 6.4. It happened almost at 6 in the afternoon, Japan time, today, November 9th. Afterwards, there was another earthquake of 5.9. This would be alas. This earthquake would be between these two in terms of timing. That is, it would be between the 6.8 and the 6.0. 4 in the middle, one of 5.9, and then 3 hours later, 2.5 hours later, 2.5 hours later. At 6:30 rather, an hour and a half later, after the first one, an hour and a half later. It would have been one of 5.7 then, 2 hours later, one of 0.6. Before that, there was another 0.6. I'm seeing everything out of order, and there was another one. 5.5, 5.4, 5.3, 5.2, x3, 5.1, x2, 5.0, x2, 5. I mean, a lot of earthquakes with a pretty considerable magnitude. So, several media outlets have been talking about this record of a small tsunami and the two major earthquakes, 6.9, 6.4. This is already being talked about in different media outlets where you can see that this situation is already being discussed. In fact, it's already being reported, except that, well, these small tsunamis were detected on the northeastern coast of its territory after the 6.9 earthquake. So it seems like there are already reports of tsunamis, right? Those, on some islands, according to what is believed, we will be confirming if there was any damage or what happened. But they would be, well, apparently just local. They would be very local things. Is this off the coast? As we can see, let's zoom out a bit from the map to see how many kilometers it is from the epicenter. Approximately, look between this area and this area. It's approximately 60 to 70 miles, a little more than 100 kilometers from side to side, right? So, about 110 kilometers around there, and probably about 60 or 70 miles at this point. Well, there it is, right? That's the phenomenon today, November 8th, November 9th. Are these quakes surprising? And sometimes when it's a swarm like this, well, it could be that something bigger might come. And that's the part where the Prime Minister asks, be prepared for strong aftershocks, right? So, well, we continue to stay alert to what's happening over there in Japan. Let's move on to other important matters.